AITA for choosing my boyfriend's side and wanting to go no contact with the family that helped me moved out to a new country. This is about to be a super long and complicated one in a throwaway account for security. I'm going to be using fake names also. Please excuse me if I say a nonsense. English isn't my first language, and I'm honestly really agitated and don't know what is going on RN. Me, 19 female, and my family, father 40, mom 48, brother 18, and sister 13, had to leave from our home due to the hard time with money and politics there. Father's almost whole family have been living in this European country for years, and most of them are full citizens now. We moved a year and a couple of months ago. We've passed very rough times since the very beginning, but our most remarkable current issue is with father's older sister Jess, 45 female. After having a really bad time with father's other sister Janice, 37 female, that ended with him yelling we're gone. And if we have to sleep on benches at parks, we'll do it. Jess said that we could stay with her family, husband Duke 50, daughter and 23, and son Andrew 20, until we figured something out that night. Moving in and still processing the whole family argument, cries and screams and telling everyone the details of it all, we met Duke's nephew, Claude, 20 male, who coincidentally also happened to be saved by them letting him to stay there for a while too. See, Duke's family and fathers have been always really close due to all of them hanging out as teens in the same street. So he wasn't a total strange to us, but there's no blood in between to be precise. To summarize, there's just Jess and Duke marriage, reinforcing that all-time friends dynamic between their respective families. The two families had shared Christmases for decades, but some time passed with everyone doing their own things so much so that Claude doesn't remember us being there at all. So as you could probably guess for the excessive no-blood explanation, yes, Claude and I felt an instant click as soon as we shared glances the first time. It started really slow, and worked as a bartender in a club a few blocks from the house, so the three of us became inseparable. While in work, we would be having a drink, joking with her at the other side of the bar, or dancing while talking to get to know better. Jess and Mom eventually perceived that something was going on, but both of them said as long as we respected the house, don't wrong each other for peace's sake, but most importantly, don't tell Father or Duke until we're totally sure, and staying in separate spaces to avoid discussions about living together in a relationship without being fully serious/married. It wasn't a problem. Yes, families are old-fashioned. Anyway, a couple of weeks passed and suddenly, and Jess were more and more worried about us, suggesting that we could be sleeping together secretly and stuff like that, which I honestly don't know where it came from. We didn't seated next to each other even to eat, nor weren't spending time alone except for when going out with Anne. One night, Jess made a big argue about us being disrespectful of the house because it was around 4 a.m. and Claude was out of bed and me too. But no such thing it was. Because Claude was helping a wasted and to get on her feet to walk through the 3 sets of stairs, and I was waiting by the apartment door so I could carry her to take a shower safely. It was a tense conversation, and we both appeared to be the grossest people ever, and never took accountability for it, but we let it slide because family is family. Also, Duke was beginning to use brother to take care and play with Andrew, who I must say has a very specific kind of autism. Don't know exactly the name, and I don't mean to be disrespectful. I just know what Jess says. He's very special, just a child inside, and only talks with actual words to Jess or brother since childhood. All the time we stayed with him, Duke would demand brother to go out and play something with Andrew, and that took around 6 to 8 consecutive hours daily, no exaggerations. He would also be very loud about sister being this and that, so she couldn't breathe without being humiliated for things of a normal preteen. It was a relief when the Red Cross accepted us to be in one of their hotels/shelters for refugees. The first week, Jess and Duke were all about getting to know the location, so they could pass some day, learning the process to share with other people interested in being on the program too, but really visited us once for about 3 hours. Claude, on the other hand, was there almost every other day, getting up real early, learning from zero to cook some meals that we could reheat later, buying some sweets, and taking the earliest train to get to the shelter, staying the whole afternoon and then going on the last bus of the day, just so we could have some hours to hang out. All of this without Father knowing that there was something happening between us. Months passed. We kept moving from a city to another one further than the latest, but Claude never skipped a weekend for seeing us. Somehow this was a problem for Jess, Duke, and Anne. They kept saying him that it wasn't right for him to do all that, that I surely didn't even appreciated it and wasn't his responsibility to take care of us. But still, every time one of those afternoons, one of them would call to take the credit on cooking/buying the things that he was giving us. While all of this and had gotten with a real bad guy that Claude didn't had a good feeling about, once he watched this dude arguing with Anne and lift his hand, but stopping at half motion, once he acknowledged that Claude was there. He almost got the dude down, but Anne insisted that they just needed to talk privately, asked him to wait on the stairs, and then proceeded to make Claude stay out there 4 hours because he couldn't get back to the apartment without Anne. I wasn't there that night because I was sick. It was a hard winter. That specific situation made Claude realize that he didn't want it to be parenting, and so he expressed his discomfort about everything that had happened, and basically just told him to mind his own businesses, so he stopped even talking to her right there and then, which at the beginning I didn't fully understood, so I still was checking on her, worried about her moving alone with this guy. One day I'm doing my usual video call with Claude sharing our days, when I received a message from in which basically said that it was my fault that Claude didn't want to talk to her, that I had poisoned his mind and I ruined the super trio friendship that we had. I couldn't figure out for my life what I did wrong. I told my mom, crying what and said, and she helped me to realize that she just didn't want to accept that it was her own actions that made Claude take decisions about their relationship. I told her that she needs to learn about accountability. She blocked me. I wasn't around, so it was a kind of pause for the drama, just the occasional rage attacks of knowing that Duke was charging Claude almost half of his salary. Claude's cash kept going missing every once in a while, and Duke would usually ate the food that he had bought for himself for the work lunch. Okay, now, the present situation is, Claude's mom, Danny, 40 female/Duke's sister, had to came here on an emergency situation about her mother critically needing medical care. After fighting 2 types of cancer and some organs failing completely, Grandma sadly passed away about a week ago. It happened so fast and was such a shock for everyone that the whole family on the country went to the last-minute funeral. Everyone except me and my family for financial issues. We didn't had even a coin to make the end of the month and had run out of almost all food in the house. We gave our condolences and ashamed asked for forgiveness a million times. This Friday, Claude bought me a train ticket. He wanted me to meet formally for the first time as a couple, his parents and grandpa, now that they're all more calm about all, and trying to get something good about the situation. We had a good weekend where I almost by pure blood duty and nothing else had to pass by Jess and Duke's apartment just so they don't get to say later that I was in town and didn't pass to say hello. Everything went strangely smooth, or at least I thought it was. As soon as Anne saw me and Claude arrive, she just walked straight to her parents' room and stayed there the whole night with her current baby daddy. Didn't said a word. After that, the second I started giving my condolences to Duke, he firmly said, "Oh no, nothing of that crap. You're such an ungrateful brat. Not even a call these days. Just say hello and move on. I don't want to hear a thing from you." And that immediately was followed by Ms. Danny saying, "Ah, shut up, Duke, the girl is here to see me. Don't be a D1CK, this isn't about you." So he and Jess laugh it off. That night I had to pass the night there, and wasn't a problem. The next day, early in the morning, Danny texted Claude that he could pack his things because he wouldn't be staying there anymore. Danny was at his other brother's house, Dexter. That would be now Claude's house too. Rent a room that would actually be treated with respect, and also his contribution to the house money. The thing is, that very same day Danny told me, "Listen, baby, I need to talk to my brother very privately about Claude's whole situation. Emma held him accountable for all the ways he's wronged my son, but I don't know how that it's going to turn out, so please I need you to stay here at Dexter's while me, my husband, and Claude go over there." That seemed very logical to me, so I didn't refuse for a second. A couple of hours later they came back with Claude's stuff and told everyone that it was better than expected, so there wasn't hard feelings left. The day ends. I make sure I leave a text for both Jess and Duke thanking them for allowing me to stay the night and feeding me. Claude and I have to wake up very early for my train back to my house. I get home and I see this text from Jess. "Jess, morning, where are you?" Me, "Good morning, Auntie. I spent the night at Dexter's with Claude. We had to get up real early to get my train and I'm home right now. Thanks again for your hospitality and the good weekend, Jess. You know that what you did is so wrong. I don't know what is happening with you with that attitude. I'm calling your father to clear up things later." Me, "I'm sorry, attitude? I don't think I understand. Explain to me what happened." The second that I sent that message, I go straight to Mom to tell her the whole thing, and we both don't have a single idea of what could I've done for that reaction, and I can assure it, precisely avoiding drama was my goal. I treated everyone nicely and politely as if my life depends on it. I decided that coming out full honestly to Father about the whole weekend before Jess could possibly make a difference on how he would perceive the situation, because it isn't the first time that Jess makes a mess out of little things. Even before I was born, this was a thing with her. She made mom's life a living hell when she started dating father, and even she admits it proudly. But I got it wrong. When I showed all the text from both and Jess and detailing him the conversation of the weekend, he started yelling that I surely had to do something, that I'm always looking for flaws on family members rather than taking care of my personal things, and I've been a troublemaker since, and Claude and I started hanging out together, that I got in between and in Claude's relationship, and should have let them figure out their problems without involving myself, and that I'm very wrong for choosing a side instead of looking for the family's peace. Mom interrupted his yelling to say all that I counted before, and father lost it. Mid-sentence started cursing and punching the table so hard that completely smashed his glasses and the table itself broke on a side. Mom got scared. She has PTSD. Father used to be a puncher. And here's where I could be the asshole. I started telling him all the things that I've been keeping for myself these years, that he always chooses his mommy and sisters even above us, that all those things he says about being the land of the house and having the right to act like that is just bullshit, that we already had our lives figured out when he left us years ago, but still are dealing with the burden that his delicate character represents, that we can't have normal talks without it becoming a fight and a scream scene. And when he started saying that he would leave us on our own, that he'll tell the lady that owns the apartment that now mom, who's now recovering from a back surgery, is going to be the responsible for the bills, and that he's out forever for good, and whole bunch of shit related to us being ungrateful with everyone, paying him back his sacrifices with crap, and that we'll see and regret every word. I just kept going back and forth until I couldn't handle myself more and screamed at the top of my lungs that he could leave and that I wanted to see for myself how he would do without everything that we do for him, a man that doesn't even know where his clean socks are. Now everyone in the house is in their own corner. Brother almost jumped father for yelling at mom and I and is keeping himself in his room. Sister haven't say a word the whole day. It's just doing her curls disassociated. Mom tries to keep everything together. Also, she texted Jess to ask what was exactly that I did wrong. She just said, I will talk to my brother only because I know he's explosive. You don't have to attack me. I'm not doing anything to you, acting offended, leaving her on red. And I am here trying to figure out where I'm going to get a job this quick to keep this shit show not so terrible for us, since I've been searching for weeks around the whole state but nobody really calls. Also, I'm waiting for that famous call that Jess said that would do to father. But yeah, I'm not standing by that family, and if I have to go no contact, fight and defend with my life, even with that father of mine, to prove the point of view of the love of my life, the man that had moved mountains for me and my family millions of times, I'll do it 1 in 100,000 times. The only thing that I'm insecure about is the way that I did it. So AITA here? Am I really being ungrateful and poorly behaved? I need direction. If you read it all, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. This is one of the darkest times of my whole life. Every word and advice is appreciated. Thanks, Reddit.